Welcome to the Perfect Egg Assignment, where I invite you to make the most refined drawing you've ever made. I recommend working in a graphite pencil, but you can use digital media as well. By now, you are equipped with a solid understanding of modeling factors and a good foundation of pencil handling skills. I encourage you to work from life. You will learn a few useful things by setting up a still life of an egg. In this video, I will guide you through the process of egg selection, paper selection, and lighting your setup. But first, here's an overview of the steps of the drawing process that we are going to use. You'll begin with a line block-in, ensuring that all proportions are correct. Then you'll apply a flat tone to the shadow family, consisting of form shadow and cast shadow. Next, you'll make a small value study to understand the tonal relationships in your image and create value groups. You will apply these groups to your drawing and then start modeling the form. First, you'll work in the light family, then the shadow family. In the light family, you start with the dark halftones, then transition into the more subtle, lighter halftones. When you get to the shadow family, you will add reflected light, core shadow, and ambient occlusion shadows. We'll integrate the penumbra and apply the finishing touches. Finally, you will photograph your drawing. Let's talk about your setup. To simplify and control the lighting, you can either draw at night, close the windows and curtains, or you can build a shadow box. You can make a simple shadow box out of cardboard, wood, or similar materials. Let me show you how I set up a simple still life with a shadow box. I have about 100 eggs, but we only need one. I've also got a light and a few drawing boards that I'm going to configure into a shadow box. The purpose of a shadow box is to help you control the lighting of your still life. Many rooms are lit by multiple light sources, resulting in more or less random lighting. Good lighting is purposeful and usually begins with one primary light source. A shadow box blocks out the light sources you don't want to affect your still life. It also reduces ambient light in your setup, which makes your shadows darker. If it turns out that you want more ambient light later, you can introduce the reflected light or add a secondary light source deliberately. To ensure that your egg doesn't fall over, I advise you to stabilize it with a bit of kneadable eraser. You don't want to attach a large piece of eraser to your egg, because the egg will be lifted off the floor and disconnected from its cast shadow. Instead, take a small piece of eraser and strategically place it around one side of the egg, like what I'm doing here. This way you can secure the egg without lifting it off the ground. By adjusting the angle, you can hide the eraser. It's magic. If you have kids or cats, or really even if you live on your own, do yourself a favor and fix the egg in place. If you make your walls black with fabric or paper, you can also control how much reflected light there is in the shadows. If I move the egg closer to the wall, I get darker shadows and less reflected light. With more distance from the wall, the reflected light from the floor will make the form shadow brighter. One more thing about lighting. Depending on the light direction you choose, you can emphasize the lights or the shadows in your drawing. For example, the image on the left has about a 80-20 ratio between light and shadow, while the image on the right is closer to 40-60. This is mostly an aesthetic decision, but you can also choose what you want to focus on practicing more, rendering shadows or rendering lights. Here are my thoughts on choosing eggs and choosing paper. I think the colors of eggs are similar to the skin colors of different humans, so they're a great way to start practicing drawing people. Because of this, any egg color is fine, but make sure you're aware of the local value of your egg when you start drawing. In this example, the egg was drawn as if it was white. The form light area is actually much darker. This is a common mistake, so watch out for it. Making a value study will help you with this. In terms of paper, you need a good drawing paper for this assignment. I recommend a white or very light Canson meat-downed or an equivalent paper. So far, about 300 people have completed the Perfect Egg Assignment. Here are some things we can learn from everyone's efforts. Number 1, don't rush. If your drawing looks like this when you're done, it probably means you've tried to do it too quickly. Take your time. Consider yourself an apprentice magician, learning to create drawings that come alive. Use this project as an opportunity to develop your abilities. You can do amazing things on a flat sheet of paper. The more noise you leave in your tones, the less convincing your drawing is going to be. So specifically, get curious about making even tones and smooth gradations to create a beautiful sense of form and presence with your drawing. Next, remember that the shading on your egg is the result of the environment it is in. I recommend that you include the set or environment in your drawing. In this example, the floor is actually white, but it has been drawn as if it was darker. Don't make a big change like this in your drawing. If you want a dark floor, make it dark in your setup. The tonal relationship between the egg and the local value of the floor is important. Again, a value study will help you see what's really there. Next, pay special attention to the transition at the terminator. In this example, you can see that the transition is a bit too sharp and abrupt. Softening that edge will create a much more volumetric shading effect. Here is an example with transitions in the dark halftone area at the terminator that are nice and soft. Related to this, make sure to create smooth transitions within the form light as well. The image on the right is a digital painting. The form light area is a little too patchy here. In shading, the light halftones are especially sensitive to tonal changes. So create a tone that is as calm as possible. Take a look at this image. If I apply the median filter and we look carefully at the dark halftones, you can see that in the photograph on the left, the halftone is quite a bit darker than in the drawing on the right. The drawing looks flatter because it is missing all that shading in the halftones. Also, look for bands of tone and see if you can blend them into each other. Turn the form gently with a soft, continuous transition of tone. One of the most important first principles of this course is that form change equals value change. The surface of an egg turns continuously. Because of that, the tonal value has to change continuously as well. Next, make sure your reflected lights are not too bright. In this example, the reflected light area is so bright that it appears to be glowing. If in doubt, keep reflected lights subtle. You can always lighten them later. It might be useful to review my lesson on the 4 common shading mistakes. Next, if you work digitally, make sure to add texture to your egg. Otherwise, you get this very smooth digital look, like in this example here. The texture happens mostly within the dark halftone region, but not only. And the texture of your egg will have a very specific pattern and quality to it. In this image there is texture, but the shapes are too small and the texture is confined to only the dark halftone area, which looks unnatural. The middle image here is lacking texture, while the right image has a bit more life to it. Next, it is important to use the full value range of your medium. This drawing works quite well, but I just wish the darks were darker. Same here. We're just missing some of the darker tones in the drawing. Experiment with different pencils. Maybe you need a 3B or 4B. I also quite like the matte graphite pencils from Faber-Castell and Staedtler. They allow you to go dark without creating the shiny surface of regular graphite. That said, here's an example of a drawing that may have become a bit too dark. Aim for a drawing that is using the full value range and is well balanced. Depending on the type of light you're using, it might create these double cast shadows. Usually this happens with lamps that have a fixture that reflects the light of the light bulb. It tends to look pretty confusing in a drawing, and it's best to use a different light source to avoid double shadows. If you don't have the option or are stuck with an image like this, I recommend to only draw the primary cast shadow with a soft penumbra. That is a change you can make easily and convincingly. When it comes time to take the photograph of your egg drawing, make sure you are exposing the picture correctly. It might be a good idea to review my lesson on photography tips before you take the picture. Alright, that is all the information I have for you. Now show me what you can do. I think you're going to be delighted by the quality of drawing you're able to achieve at this point in the course. I wish you happy drawing.